on. Let's start off
Okay.
with the 76ers. Now, this is a weird one. Of course, because Embiid is injured. But if he comes back, this kind of relates to a question that Nick asked on the previous podcast. If Embiid comes back and is healthy.
I think all of us were having that same question.
I asked the question. Go watch it back.
It doesn't matter who asked the question. Just if Embiid comes back, are they a pretender or a contender?
I don't care. If Embiid comes back, they're a second-round pretender still. I don't care.
Why do you say that?
They're pretenders. Embiid has less help this year, and same thing with Rudy. Until I see Embiid play well in the playoffs, I don't care.
No, you're all for Rudy. You're all for Rudy and them performing in the playoffs. You're flipping it for each.
Remember what I said last episode? I said, if Rudy plays bad again, Minnesota has Naz Reid to back him up, who can come in and play well. So I'm not necessarily banking on Rudy.
Okay.
But Joel Embiid is their whole team.
No, not third best player in the league, Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, Nick.
Okay.
Shout out to Coach Cove.
They have two players. My bad.
I think the Sixers roster is the best one they've had since they had Jimmy Butler the 1 year.
Okay.
But I don't. They are definitely a deep team, especially with the guards. But stacking up against these top teams, I think if they had if Embiid was healthy and they could have been a higher seed, they might have had a better chance. But I don't think they'll be able to do it now.
Best case scenario, they make it to the conference championship. Most realistic scenario, they're out in the first or second round.
I could easily see them falling into the play-in and not even. I mean, they'll probably make the playoffs, but it'll be close.
They could definitely fall in the play-in. They're only a game and a half ahead of teams 6 through 8. Like the East is just as not as crazy as the West, but it is still very crazy and close.
I mean, yeah, if they we're talking about contenders, they might not even make the playoffs. They're like. Yeah.
Well, neither are the Lakers or the Warriors, but we still had to put them in there.
The Lakers have proven playoff players.
Good. That's a good point.
That is true.
That's a good point. Another team in the East with proven playoff performers that have struggled this season until, I guess this weekend, the Milwaukee Bucks. Contender or pretender this season? It's been a very odd year.
Pretender.
Who's the head coach?
Defense.
Oh my! Are you gonna base this off Doc Rivers?
Who's the head coach?
Oh gosh, yes,
it's Doc Rivers. They're pretenders. They're pretenders. They're pretenders.
No, or Ray Allen? Nope.
They're pretenders. They're pretenders. It's Doc Rivers. I'm sorry.
Wow. So we're discounting a Dame Giannis team in the playoffs to be a contender. Yep. It doesn't matter because Doc.
I'm not
because
just
of a
saying
coach.
it because of Doc. No, I'm not just saying it because of coach. They don't play defense. They played a little bit recently.
They have the problem is with them.
It's terrible.
What we've seen since Doc has been there, their defense has gotten a little better, but their offense has taken a huge tank. It's like their offense was really good and their defense is trash. Now their defense is solid/mediocre and their offense is mediocre.
And you know what hasn't happened since he's gotten there? I haven't heard a lick of accountability.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
So the counter to that, right, is it takes time. It definitely takes time to see these things go well. We can even look as early this season with the Clippers. When they acquired Hart, it took them a while to really get things going. And this is basically as big of a move that you make mid-season. It is. You're completely changing your system. You're adding a whole new player in. It's a very difficult thing to do in the middle of the season. We saw the Clippers. It took them a few weeks, and they were able to get it together. I think the Bucks, this could totally be a team where they just rumble into the playoffs and then dominate in the playoffs. No, you don't.
I'm just not buying it. Sorry.
Interesting.
You're right. They can figure it out, and they can get better. But if I'm sorry, but if you're putting like the Celtics versus the Bucks, and they could possibly play and they could possibly play in the second round, like I'm sorry, no.
That's true. If they are in the second
that's
round.
my thing. Like I can't even put them in a championship because even if they make the Bucks make it past the first round, they're a 4 seed.
No, they might not even make it past the first round if they play their father. They play Mr. Emo himself. He rumbles into there.
Jimmy Butler.
But like that's my thing. If they're the 4 or 5 seed and they make it out of the first round, then they're playing the Celtics in the second round. They can't even make it. I'm sorry, I don't see them beating the Celtics.
Yeah, I don't see that. Well, yeah, I don't see that anyone beating the Celtics.
Thank you.
In those first 2 rounds, I just had to make a case for them. I guess I'll go Contender.
Yeah, I guess I'll go Contender. You have to make a case for them. This is all predictions. None of us know. None of us know. We're all making predictions. Anything can happen. It's the playoffs. It'll be craziness no matter what.
Yeah.
I actually have a script.
Next team, let's go to Jackson's favorite team in the East, the New York Knicks.
Contender.
It's still a tough one, man. With the Knicks. Can they
fully
legitimately...
healthy Julius, they're the best team of all time.
What?
They have a proven playoff performer at the point guard. OG is the perfect defender for this team. Mitchell Robinson will probably be back to out-rebound whichever center they play in the first round. I don't care if it's Embiid. I don't care whoever it is. They're contenders. They have the best bench unit in the East. Actually, probably the whole league. Where's the flaw?
Yeah, it'd be them the Clippers.
I want to say pretender.
But you can't because they're not.
You want to let me speak, Goglin? You want to let me speak?
Not. Absolutely not, because you're probably going to say something rude.
I'm going to hold my tongue. I want to say pretender. But like Goglin spoke over me and said, I cannot. They have the best bench in possibly the league. They have proven playoff guys. I hate the Knicks. I hate the Knicks. I don't like it. Well, I don't hate the Knicks because I do like a lot of their players. But I very much dislike the Knicks. But I have to say contender. I do. I just have to.
They have all the things that you need.
They have a good defensive coach. They have a good defensive team. They have guys that can score the ball. They have a bench that can carry it with them.
There's no bigger X factor come playoff time than Josh Hart.
The biggest question for them will end up being like clutch time offense.
Yeah.
I don't even think Julius. Like
they should just make him retire. Force him into retirement.
No, we've seen since he's been injured. I know other guys have been in and out of the lineup too, but he does help them in certain ways. He does help them. Agreed. At the very least, he provides depth for you when healthy.
It's when OG went down is when they started to play a little worse.
But we've even seen Thibodeau like in the playoffs last year. Like if Julius Randle was having a bad game, he had no problem having him on the bench to close games.
Perfect. Good.
So I think at the very, very least, he provides depth for the Knicks and he does help them. I'm gonna go contenders too because this team, like you guys said, they have everything you could ask for.
Yep.
Finals contenders?
Finals contenders? I'm not sure.
Unfortunately, I don't see anybody beating the Celtics. I just don't.
I definitely think if you had like 100 chips, if you had like 100 chips to put,
I'm putting all 100 on the Knicks.
That's a rough go.
But taking 2 away because of Julius.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Got 2 teams left with a contender or pretender. First up, let's talk about our Cleveland Cavaliers.
Contender.
See, this is another one that's super tough to figure out, and mainly,
Nope.
I guess, similar to the Timberwolves, it's because they struggled like last year in the playoffs, and at certain points, you see where they could fall in the playoffs.
Doesn't matter to me.
You said contender, Jackson?
Yes, I like the Cavs. The Cavs team is great. They have depth. Don't don't do that.
I'm shocked because I even have them as a pretender. I
Oh, yeah,
love
you
the
guys
Cavs.
are just fake.
I'm the biggest, according to you, Cavs glazer there is.
No, you're just the
However,
glazer of everybody.
from what I see is exactly what Miles was saying. The things that they're doing, like in the regular season and what they got beat on last season in the playoffs, is the same thing they're still doing. Allen and Mobley, Allen's having a really good year. Mobley's having a decent year. But what do I see? I don't see them being dominant. And I can definitely see them getting bullied on the boards again in in the playoffs. And if that happens, we're screwed.
Okay.
We're absolutely screwed.
I
Okay.
they
Okay.
they
I,
definitely
I, I
they
just I
definitely
just
are the
see it.
biggest X. They definitely are the biggest X factors. The thing going for this team is that really, besides I guess that hoping that they mature and are ready for the moment this year, um, everything that was a problem for this team last year has been addressed. Everything has
Yeah.
been addressed, and everything has been really
Shooting.
fixed. The 3-point shooting has been fantastic this season from a lot of different players. There's a lot of depth. Like at all times when healthy, you're going to have two all-star caliber players on the floor at the point guard and center position. Like
I mean,
Yeah.
you got all-star caliber Money Merrill off the bench.
X.
and Donovan Mitchell, besides I guess game 4 of the Knicks series last year and the year before that, he's been one of the best playoff performers and playoff risers in NBA history when looking at NBA scoring in the postseason average wise. Like
Especially when he plays Jamal Murray.
especially when he plays
Those,
Jamal Murray.
those two had one of the greatest 1v1 series I've ever seen in my entire life.
And the thing too for this Cavs team is they can match up with all these teams at the top as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does just like you said, the X factors are Mobley and Allen. If they hold their ground and the moments and the lights aren't too bright for them, then I could say contender. Conference championship contender. I don't know about finals contender. I'm not there yet.
I'm
But
gonna
I'm
go.
at
Sorry, I'll let you
finals
finish.
contender too.
Finish. Go ahead, Joey.
but I just don't know. Until I'm staying consistent with my thinking. Until I see it, I won't believe it.
Yeah,
This is how it is. Same thing with the Timberwolves. Same thing with the Timberwolves. Same thing with the Cavs.
That is fair enough.
If they show it to me, they can do it.
I think I'm gonna go with the Cavs and say that they are
contender.
I'm gonna go and say that they are conference final contenders. And the only reason I'm different with them and the Timberwolves is I feel like the competition in the East is more lackluster than the West.
Yeah. Like you said, that we match up better with the teams in the East.
I don't no Jackson. I don't think it's that outlandish to say that the Cavs have a better chance of making the conference finals than the Timberwolves do of making the conference finals.
I mean, I guess.
I don't know how that's
I think it's very close between those two teams, but final team, and this I saved them for last for a reason. This may be the hardest team to actually determine contender or pretender.
Thunder.
Yes, the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is definitely the hardest team for me to really figure out because they have absolutely everything that a championship team would have. They have a superstar, they have depth, they have defense, they have great 3-point shooting, they have great coaching, but they have no playoff experience.
Size?
Yeah, size I guess too. Size as well is a little bit of a weakness, but besides that,
I think that they are Western Conference Finals contenders maybe. And that's maybe.
I think that's the furthest they go as well. Personally, I think the no playoff experience isn't going to hurt them as much, like if they're a first round exit or not, like the Cavs were. I think they can get not. I think they can make it past the first round, even with the no playoff experience. However, I see them getting knocked out in the second round, or making it to the conference finals, but not making it to the finals. So best case scenario, I think they make the conference finals.
I don't trust their size. I mean,
Yeah,
Timberwolves.
if you put
If
them
they go
against the
Timberwolves, they
Timberwolves,
get
it's
dominated down low.
yeah.
If they play the Nuggets, get dominated down low. Play
Yeah.
the get dominated down low. If
Yeah.
like play any of those teams, you're getting dominated down low.
That's what I'm saying. Second round, I think second round exit's pretty
Because who would they like? They're what the third seed?
They're the second seed, and they could definitely get one. That's why it's hard to really determine like set matchups, because these could change by the end of the week.
But like if they're where they are now, who's the first seed? The Timberwolves.
Right?
Second
or the first seed is the Timberwolves.
Second seed is the Thunder.
Nuggets and Suns.
And then the Nuggets are third.
Yes.
Yeah,
so right now,
so if they play the Nuggets in the second round, I'm sorry, I think the Nuggets beat them.
Well, yeah, because they're they don't
That's
have
what I'm saying. I don't think I think they're more of a pretender, unfortunately.
But
I love rooting for this team, but I don't see them making out of the second round.
Denver matches up to them so well. They have.
I want to see the Thunder pull this off so much. Like I would love to see them pull it off.
I want to root for them so bad.
Like this would be.
I think
this
they're
is
1 year away.
This is the ultimate test to see if experience really matters or not for a team at the top of the standings. When is the last time that we've really seen this besides the old Thunder when they first got Westbrook and Durant from the draft and Harden and Ibaka? Like
I don't know, but it's J-Dub as a 4. That's just I don't know how I feel about it.
You know who would be perfect for them? I think.
Paul
George.
that'd be a
not for the
fit.
height thing you're saying, but I'm just saying like if they had like SGA then and the PG and then a Chet,
that's a bad
I think
fit.
they match up better. They
Paul
match
George,
up better with the Nuggets then.
I disagree.
That doesn't change their size. Like that's a 2-inch height difference from J.
No,
you can't have a 6-foot power forward. That's the only thing I don't like.
Another question too is I'm quickly looking right now. They have 7 players on the season shooting 40% from 3 or better that play for them, legit minutes. And Shea is right behind them shooting 38%. He could get up to 55, 40, 90 on the season. But like Aaron Wiggins shooting 52% from 3.
Playoffs we're talking about here.
Yeah. J-Dub is shooting 45% from 3. Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace, 42% from 3. Lou Dort is shooting 40% from 3, and he's mainly out there for defense.
Yes, but a lot of those guys are really young with no playoff experience.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to the experience. I think I'm gonna be a believer. I'm gonna say contender for a conference final.
All right.
Yeah, that's what we're saying too.
I said pretend. I don't think they make it. I think they're out in the second round.
Oh.
Now, if you are a Thunder, if you're in the Thunder organization and the Thunder coaching staff, like, what is failure for this team if you don't get to the?
There isn't at this point.
But like, well, I think there is. If you get to the, well, no, if you make the playoffs and lose to in the first round to like the 7th or 8th seed, I think that's a failure.
That's a failure. Well, you have to make it to the second round, I think.
If you play the Lakers or the Warriors or even the Pelicans or the Mavericks, who are all playing right now,
the Thunder
those are all beatable teams.
The Thunder should beat all those teams.
Those are all beatable teams.
Yeah, I guess.
They should have high expectations because they're a high seed. But they should have realistic expectations where they have no playoff experience. And like you said, Goglin, I think they're 1 season away.
Yeah. I mean, you never know, though. Sometimes, like, you hear from veterans that, like, maybe, when you don't have the experience, you just don't know any better. So maybe that helps them in a sense that they haven't been there before. But definitely the hardest definitely the hardest team to really determine with that.
That's
I think
probably going to be like my must-watch team when it comes playoff time. Like I just want to see what they do.
Not the Cavs. Okay.
well, there's
Besides
a legit
our
chance that
team. Jeez. Oh my
Oh,
God.
see, I'm
that,
lucky. I'm
dude,
not
low
gonna have a
key,
team in the playoffs, so I'm just gonna root for all the teams I like.
the Cavs may
How is
end
that
up
different from the
being
regular season, Goglin?
It's not, but
like the Cavs
at
may
least
end up having the most boring or worst first round matchup if they play the Magic, if I'm being honest, because it's just too slow defenses.
you guys are losing to the Magic too.
Whoa.
But yeah,
You got nothing good.
was contender or pretender. A lot of teams that definitely have a shot at it. Like this is like one of the rare times. I mean, maybe last year was kind of like this, where you had so many teams in the race.